Hi guys. I'm putting up this video because I'm very upset. Alright? I don't have much of an internet presence and I'm not upset about that, but just follow me here. Today, police officers involved in a shooting of an unarmed black teenager had the charges against them dropped. So, there's not going to be a trial. There's not going to be any public thing. It's just, it happened, we looked into it, and although they looked into it, the records of what they looked into won't be made public ever. And the police are back on the streets and they're doing their thing. So I'm a little emotional behind it. But what do? How do I deal with those emotions? And I've decided to just talk with you guys a little bit about what's really going on, alright? I'm upset because there's something terribly wrong in the country of my birth, okay? I'm messed up about it. And see, regardless of my personal feelings, I gotta talk to you guys about a lot of stuff I've been seeing on Facebook, on YouTube, all over Google, in the news. Okay? And I want to address a few things. I really do. First off, I'm going to say something that people don't like to hear. I'm going to say a few things that people don't want to hear. But I'm going to do something that I haven't seen a lot of people do, okay? And that is, I'm going to define a few of the dog whistle phrases that we hear in today's day and age, alright? I'm going to try not to let this video go for too long, so just bear with me. Okay? A kid was shot and killed by the police. And when any of that happened, and there is a list of names that you can use: Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, hell, the two that happened last week, even another one that just happened that I saw on my Facebook page, where the body camera sound got cut until the shot was taken. All of these people were black. All of these people were unarmed. And I know that's very uncomfortable for you guys to hear, but I'm letting you know something. I am scared. I'm scared. Alright? I'm terrified. Because I hear so many justifications for it, okay? I'm going to clear something up right now. The Black Lives Matter movement never, ever, 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 ever put anything out there that stated that Black Lives matter more than anyone else's. The entire movement got started because as a nation, we need to be reminded that Black Lives matter too. The fact that there have been so many of us dead in the past 3 years by the hands of the people that are supposed to protect us from the bad guys doesn't leave a lot of evidence to say that our lives do matter. Okay? And why do I keep saying that Black Lives matter? It's because of the counter hashtag, All Lives Matter. I'm going to say this. Do they? Do they really? I can say, no shit, all lives matter. But if all lives truly mattered, then why are you so mad at us for asking for asking the country as a collective to stop killing our kids? You know, I got family that's high school age, but they're over 6 feet tall. And that's something that I want to go into, okay? Because you've all heard the Black Lives Matter rant, and a lot of you guys have just decided to dig in on whatever it is that you're thinking. Fine. But to those of you guys out there that are willing to listen, hear this. Okay? White privilege exists. Systemic racism exists. And a lot of people in this country live off of the benefits of racism. And I'm going to do something I haven't seen a whole lot of people on the web do, and that's define what that stuff is, okay? I'm going to define it. Okay? 1, white privilege is a dog whistle phrase. I know that. I know it gets people's ears perked up. What the fuck does he mean, white privilege? My life is a piece of shit. Oh my God, I've had to work really, really hard to get where I am today. I'm not privileged. Stop. Just stop. Stop and listen for a half a moment. White privilege is not the same as rich privilege. White privilege is not caviar and yachts and summers in the Riviera and winters in Australia surfing wherever it is they surf down there. That's not what white privilege is. White privilege is being treated like we're taught that people are supposed to be treated as Americans. It means that you have the benefit of the doubt. It means that you are innocent until proven guilty. It means that you can walk down your street, anywhere, and not be in danger of harassment from the government, both local and federal. I don't have that privilege. I don't live in the ghetto anymore, but I will tell you, I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I grew up off of Manchester and Highway 115, or the 115 if you're from the West Coast. Or 110, sorry. Manchester and the 110. All right? I did not grow up in a nice area. Okay, my neighborhood is the neighborhood where you had boys in the hood. I was in the gang wars of the 80s and 90s, and I wasn't gang affiliated. Okay, I was the fat kid who cried a lot and liked reading. You know, I went to college for science. Okay, I went to college. But I'm not from the best area. Okay? And I'm going to say this. I live in a great city right now. But I'm scared to death to leave the house. Not because of gangsters, not because of people that might want to steal my wallet, but I'm scared because whenever I'm on the street, I'm suspect for a crime. Just think about that for half a minute. If there is a robbery within 5 miles of me, and the description is black male, I match the description and I will be checked. You know, I have a white girlfriend, and when we're driving in the car together, if she gets pulled over for a traffic violation, I get my ID or my driver's license checked just for being in the car. The last time this happened, she was grilled for an hour and a half to make sure that I wasn't holding her hostage, as the entire car was ransacked by the local constabulary looking for drugs or weapons or evidence of guilt. White privilege is being considered guilty or being considered innocent until proven guilty. Those that don't have it, we're considered guilty for something. Okay? In a city that I live not too far from, it was in the news a few years ago because rape is the #1 crime in that city. And most of the people who commit it are average-looking white males. But the place where white privilege exists is that any white guy between the ages of 19 and 35 can walk down the street unsolicited by the police for matching the description of a rapist. You know, that's a privilege. And it shouldn't be a privilege. We're taught that that's not a privilege, that's a right. That's a right that we have as Americans to be able to face our accusers and to face trial in front of a jury of our peers. But I don't have that. My friend whose last name is Rodriguez doesn't have that. You know, right now, a brown person wearing a turban or a sari, they don't have that. The only people who really have that en masse, the freedom of walking down the street without the fear of being stopped or questioned by the local or federal government, are people of color. I have to take it as an eventuality. I have to know that when I leave for work, I only have a 40% chance of coming home, because if I'm stopped for anything, jaywalking, busted taillight, matching the description of a sexual assault that happened 5 miles away from where I actually am, I can end up in jail or worse. That's a fact. That's a fact for me and a lot of people, the majority of the people in this country that look like me. And I live in one of the most liberal cities in this country. If that's not a worry that you have, then you have a privilege. If you know that when your kids go to school, they can wear sports gear because they're part of the basketball team or the track team, but if they can come home from school and you can make plans after school, you have a privilege. My cousins that live in Compton, they don't. You know, their mothers are afraid every day on whether or not she's going to see her son because he just got to be over 6 feet tall and he's 16. He's not a gangster. You know, he likes playing basketball and playing Pokemon Go. And she can't let him play Pokemon Go because if he does anything that looks suspicious, like not knowing exactly where he's going or looking for something in public, he could be pulled over. And somebody told me that by stating all this, I'm saying that all cops are bad. And I'm not saying that. Okay, hashtag not all. But also hashtag not all, but enough. Because it only takes one cop, one bullet. And I know that police have a dangerous job. I do. Okay? They have to go out there and they're put in danger by all of these criminals that would rather them not go home. But I'm sorry to tell you guys, and this is real talk, they have that job where they go into these dangerous areas, but after they're done, they go home. The people who live in those areas are in just as much danger. And this whole Blue Lives Matter thing in response to Black Lives Matter, they haven't said anything about that. They never said anything about the law-abiding residences that have just as much to fear from the same criminals. I know. I grew up with these gangsters. You know, I grew up with them. You know, they used to beat my ass and take my lunch money. But you know what happened when I tried talking to the police? I ended up handcuffed in the back of the car. That still happens today. I don't have the privilege of calling the police when I've been wronged, because when I do, I'm prime suspect, especially because of my cadence. Now, I do want to say that there are other things, and I'm going to put up another video right after this one to show you guys, or to continue to define these things. But white privilege doesn't mean that you guys have great lives. It means that as white people, you guys get treated like basic, decent people. And as a man of color, I don't get that treatment. I have to fight for the right to be treated like I have an education, like I'm not guilty of a crime, like I don't have malicious intent, which I don't most of the time. You know, I never go out and start fights. I've never robbed somebody, you know, but I'm treated as though it's an eventuality. You know, but you're not. You're probably not. I'm going to come back with another video about the whole institutional racism, okay? But I want you guys to just consider this much, all right? Just consider that white privilege it doesn't mean that your life is amazing. It just means that you are looked at as an individual and not part of a whole that isn't worth as much as the promises that we are guaranteed as people in a civilized society, okay? Anyway, I'll see you at the next video. And cut.